Hi, and welcome to another installment of If It's in the Mind, It Can Be Managed, the Mind Management Mentors podcast. I'm really excited about today's subject because it's food orientated, and I'm very much aware that a lot of depression can actually come from the gut. The gut is the second brain. I know that. I'm well versed in that. That doesn't mean to say that I eat nutritionally in any way whatsoever. However, today's guest, allow yourself, introduce yourself. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Cuddy, for this warm welcome. Yes, and my name is Natasha, and I've done my master's in food science and nutrition. I've been practicing in this field for almost 7 years now, and it's been a wonderful and a meaningful journey because I've had the privilege of coaching around 3,000 clients all over the world. And it's interesting how people are so interested and invested now and growing aware about their health. So I specialize, my main forte is in gut health and weight loss. So really excited about this podcast, Cuddy, and thank you for inviting me.
Is that why you reached out to me? You saw a picture of me and go, he's a perfect client.
No, no, absolutely not. It's got to do more with the kind of work that you do, which is so relevant right now, the
It,
mind management coach.
it really is. So, Natasha, whereabouts in India are you from?
I'm from a state called Gujarat. I stay in a city called Surat.
Oh, whereabouts in India? Is that north, east, south, west, central?
It is west. It's on the west side of India.
Never eat shredded wheat. So you are on the Mumbai side.
Yes, yes, towards the west.
So I want to share, especially for this podcast, we just talked about it. I was like, look, we've got to talk about these things. So I've been to, and again, we've got stereotypes of countries and how they are. I've been to Mumbai, I've been to
Mhm.
Cochin, and I've been to Goa, and I think I went to somewhere else on that coast as well. And I have to say, I found India really clean. I was genuinely, honestly, I'd heard about slums and Slumdog Millionaires, and I
Mhm.
believe there was a tour that took people to the to the slums, but we never saw that. So I saw Mumbai. We went up to a monastery or something in the hills that was fantastic. But I really enjoyed the food in
Mhm.
India, and I didn't go for the hot spicy food. I still had a butter chicken. I did see a McDonald's, and I was like, I am not going to India, and I'm not eating a McDonald's. So I
Yes.
do remember that. However, I wanted to touch on something that I see an awful lot about when I see India, and it's the street food.
Yeah.
And it's the video clips of people on the street serving up food covered in flies and sugar and people cutting meat with their toenails, putting it into the hot pan and then serving people the food. Is that still relative?
Yes, Kari. So that's not the true case. Like when you look at, there's always a flip side of a coin. So there are two pictures that are running parallelly. Today, consumers in India and people in India have become much more aware and they are very particular about when it comes to hygiene. Now, you mentioned that you've been to Kerala, you've been to Mumbai. Now, these are places which value tasty, nutritious, and delicious food, like right from the base, like, things like ghee. Now, that's something which is in cold press form. So, you're not like actually having refined oil. So, that's something that's helping with your improving your cholesterol levels. Down south, a lot of people focus not on refined foods. There's a lot of focus now that's moving towards millets and grains. So, when you walk in Cochin and all, there's a lot of focus on steamed food. So, when the food is steamed, a lot of bacteria there right there is killed. So it may not be too aesthetic, not too fancy, but I can bet that the food is really nutritious. And yes, we are a cleaner country compared to what the stereotype is.
And how long when did the food standards in India start changing then? Because you're clearly well versed in nutrition. You are a PhD in nutrition. So when did the culture change in India, and why did it change, if you don't mind my asking?
Yes, so I think a lot of awareness is being spread, and there are a lot of strict rules and regulations. We have food inspectors. So now the case in India is that if there's a mishap or hygiene standards are not being met, there are a lot of restaurants that are shut down. And in fact, now consumers have started calling out. Like if they go to a shop and they see something is not hygienic. That's on an Instagram reel, millions of views, and people know that they can't go to this place. So, restaurants themselves have become a lot more conscious.
Wow, fan, that's just amazing. And how far away from Mumbai are you, if you don't mind my asking?
This is about 3 hours far.
Is that
By
driving,
road.
train,
By road.
or right? Perfect.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. And I honestly found India absolutely fascinating. It's one of the nicest countries I've ever been to. I have never been made to feel so welcome. In fact, I know you've not met me face to face, but I'm 6'2". I've always been about 4 foot wide, quite broad shoulders. And people, when I was walking around India, people were giving me their babies.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
and they kept saying like WWF, they thought I was a wrestler.
Okay.
What and I found that culture very, very strange that they were like, yeah, hold the baby, take a picture, hold the baby, take a picture. And I'm just walking around with my wife, and my wife was like, what are they doing? So where's that mindset come from when they see a big white, gray-haired beast walking through?
So, I mean, I what I personally feel is in India, people are very loving. So it's not got to do with the body structure, height, or anything. It's just that in Hindi, there's a saying called Atiti Devo Bhava. That means when a guest comes to India, you're as good as God.
Oh
So
wow.
that's the context with which they are looking at you and, giving their kid to you. And that's basically it's a blessing. When a guest comes over, it's a big blessing. We think that God has entered.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. That's absolutely lovely. So we're going to be talking about gut health, and I think it's a fantastic subject to talk to. Actually, I'm really intrigued about this myself, because I genuinely think there might be something going on with my gut. So that you came along at the perfect time, Natasha. So I'm going to soak this up like a sponge. But for anybody, how would they know if their gut health is compromised? What signs would there be?
All right. So if I would have to explain it in very simple terms, basically your gut has nerves that connect to all parts of the body.
Yeah.
Any sign and symptom, when, like, say, if you're getting a headache, we just pop a pill and we think that I have a headache. But the source problem is there's an issue with your gut. So if you're having persistent headache, migraines, a lot of flatulence, you're eating a small portion and then just feeling bloated, or even for that matter, constipated. These are obvious signs that there is a gut related issue. But some secondary symptoms like, hair loss all of a sudden, skin related issues, or even mood swings could be a reason for a lot of gut problems. And now there's a lot of awareness where people have started realizing like autoimmune diseases, be it arthritis, or all these health conditions have all manifested right from not having a good gut health.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yes. Now, there's a difference between diabetes from birth and getting diabetes with high sugary foods. I'm guessing. Can you explain that?
Yes, so that's typically type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
Basically, when a child is born with the pancreas compromised or due to some medical condition where the pancreas is not able to give up enough insulin, that's when this child will need external insulin to keep their sugar levels in balance. So that's one kind of diabetes. The other kind is where eventually, because of lifestyle, where people are not moving enough or not getting enough sleep or probably not hydrating or snacking on a lot of junk processed foods eventually leads to diabetes. It's a slow process, but it's sure to come.
Wow. 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 I like where this is going. I genuinely do. So and you touched on something, and it was about bloating. So, and I'm going to talk about this as well. And I know you're going to be like straight in on this one. Um, I I get ill with gluten.
Mhm.
I cannot believe it. I'm 47 and now I can't touch gluten. Whenever I touch gluten, because I actually thought I had a kidney problem. So I went to the doctors in the UK and they did the test. No problems with the kidneys, no problems with with my bloods, not close to diabetes in any way. And I told them what my symptoms were. They went, that kind of sounds like a gluten intolerance. But I do struggle with bloating now. to be fair. Not constipation, sometimes fatigue. But what's going on and how can I get my gut back into balance? Because I know depression's linked to the gut as well.
Yes. So these are two different questions like that I would like to address it. When it comes to gluten, this is a sensitivity that you have developed over a period of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, there's a huge field of study called nutrigenomics where there is a gene study done, and probably the gene that has to express itself to digest gluten is not very active. And over a period of time, when you take gluten in the form of any form, it could be in bread, biscuits, any of these, your gut cannot tolerate it. And that's when issues come up. Like, there's a complete disbalance in your gut bacteria. Okay. Now, in everyone's gut, there are two kinds of bacteria. You have your good as well as bad bacteria. Now, these two have to be in balance. Now, the moment your bad bacteria count starts increasing, that's when you have symptoms of bloating, indigestion, or acidity. Okay. So, the food choices, high stress, or not following your body's cycle of eating meals on time, going to sleep on time, can disrupt this gut microbiome ratio.
Wow.
Okay. Now, what happens is, as I said, your gut has nerves that connect to your brain.
Yeah.
So when there's a dysbiosis and your bad bacteria count is increasing, now added to this, there's like, sugary foods being taken or processed foods. It's like a party for the bad bacteria and they just keep increasing. And then these are the bad bacteria that eventually starts affecting mood. Okay. And this is vice versa. If you're in a happy mood, your stress levels are better, your body kind of releases hormones which support your good bacteria to increase. So when you're happy, you'll see lower chances of having gut health issues. Like,
Mm.
for example, like, students just before the exam suddenly start getting cramps in their stomach. That's because
Mm.
the brain and gut is connected. Some people feel anxious and they feel like, they're going to puke before an interview. That's again because of the brain and gut connection.
Wow. That I didn't know. So is it attached to, is it the vagus nerve that goes down to the stomach then?
Yes, that's correct.
So it's the vagus nerve that's connected to the stomach that goes all the way to the brain.
Yes. And that's how both are interlinked and vice versa.
Wow. So the vagus nerve goes all the way down to the stomach, and it's picking up signals and then sending back up the mood swings and the negative hormones, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
How long does it take for people to get there, or what can people start doing to get their gut biomes or microbiomes back into healthy bacteria and less negative bacteria?
Yes. So the first step is to be able to diagnose it. Now, today there are a lot of tests where you can detect what foods you are sensitive to. If you have a glucose intolerance or a lactose intolerance, and your doctor will prescribe certain medications and enzymes that will help you digest food first better. In terms of what your plate could look like, you can do a very simple technology called the meal sequencing. Now, what happens in this is always start your meal with vegetables first. Okay. If you don't like it in the form of salads, it could be stir fries or soups. But the point is get your veggies first. So when your body has the right amount of fiber, I'm not saying overdo it. It's basically a party time for the good bacteria and they start growing. So what I tell most of my clients is look at your plate and your plate should look like a rainbow. Don't eat the same colored food every day. So have different colored vegetables, fruits at the start of your meal. Then your second combination that you need to have is get your proteins and carbohydrates. So when you start eating in such balance, that's what helps your gut bacteria to get better. Second thing, now the trend is, people love to switch on Netflix or, they are working and then they're eating. Okay. And that's like something like very comforting at the end of the day. And when you do this, you really are not present to it that your stomach is actually full. There are signals going to your brain that you're full, but we are not present because we are so interested in what's going on in the TV. And then we don't realize that we've eaten a huge portion. So I believe when you're eating food, it's a very sacred moment. Like, that's the time to bond, have a good time with your family, and relish the kind of meal that you're having and have gratitude for what's in your plate. So when you eat with these emotions, there's a lot of happy hormones that your body releases.
Wow.
And yeah, and when you eat, you should have an experience that now I'm 80% full and 20% my stomach is empty. So you need to start training your body to listen to your body, and you need to stop eating there. And the but obvious things in terms of lifestyle for a good health is gut health, especially, is soaking in sunlight. Just 7 minutes of walking after each meals. It sounds so simple and basic, but the impact is profound.
What's the impact from 7 minutes of walking after a meal? Because to be fair, most people after a meal are like, "Oh my God, I can't move, I'm wedged." But I know that's bad food, that's processed food that we've eaten. But what's the science behind doing a 7 minute walk after a meal?
Yes. So when you eat a meal, the first thing that what's going to happen is that food is going to get digested and it's going to release glucose in your blood. Okay. Now, all this floating glucose, if it has no channel to be utilized, the only thing is it's excess glucose, which is just eventually getting stored as fat.
Yeah.
So much of glucose makes you feel sick, tired, and sleepy after a meal. Okay. Now, when I use the glucose monitor tracking, what we noticed is when you walk for 7 minutes, it helps balance and bring your sugars down, and your muscles are actively soaking in that excess glucose. So you're not giving scope for it to get stored as fat. And I've seen that this is effective even for fat loss.
Wow. That is amazing. That genuinely is amazing. So, why does fermented food and what kind of fermented food and how do we make fermented food? There's going to be a lot of people watching this going, I don't want to buy supplements from the shop, or I don't want to get supplements for that, which I try to stay away from supplements now. And how do you make a good fermented food? How's that process? And
Yeah.
what can you suggest?
So the best fermented foods, like these are basically probiotics, which again help feed the right kind of microbiome, is simple as curd. Like in India, this is a tradition. Like one serving of curd is always there.
So, curd.
Curd or yogurt.
Curd or yogurt, right? Yeah, perfect. Curd or yogurt, right? Fantastic.
So that introduces the right set of bacteria into your gut. If you prefer having different kinds of pickles, the best thing is make pickles at home in the form of sauerkraut or even kimchi.
So, how do you make
Again,
that?
yeah, so basically, what you need to do is cut vegetables, put it in a salt water brine, and seal it well and refrigerate it.
So, you do
After,
put water in it.
yes, yes, and salt.
I'm making some sauerkraut with just cabbage and salt. I was told to make it with just cabbage and salt, and the salt brings out the water.
Yes, you can do it either way. And that 7 days process of keeping in the refrigerator starts the fermentation process. And it's so flavorful and tasty with your meal.
Wow. I'm gonna have to put it in the fridge. I got told to keep it out of the fridge by a nurse. She would keep it out of the fridge for 2 weeks, let it ferment, and then because it literally is just salt and cabbage.
Yes, yes, absolutely. But the fermentation process is what introduces the good bacteria in your gut.
So if I can I now I'm asking this, can I put water in mine that's been fermenting for about 10 days?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I can now add water and keep it.
Fresh, in the fresh batch, like now that this is fermented, don't add water. You can
Okay.
create a fresh batch with water.
Oh, interesting. Fantastic. What's the purest form of prebiotics and probiotics? What's the purest form of that? Without getting something from the herbal shop, what's
Yes.
the purest form?
You can create a pre and probiotic. The simple version that we follow in India is psyllium husk, mix it up with yogurt.
Oh, psyllium husk. And is that just plain yogurt, not like yogurt with
No, the
sugar in?
flavored ones with no, with none of these artificial sweeteners and all.
And why? Because it's high sugar in the stomach that causes the bad bacteria to grow, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So if somebody's sat there going, why am I just craving? Especially, all right, it's me. If they're constantly craving sugar, is that another sign of you've got a gut problem?
It could be. It could be a sign of disrupted, like, your microbiome, but also it could be a sign of some deficiencies. Sometimes when you're deficient on magnesium, in your blood that also could cause a sugar craving. Or probably your meals are not well balanced, because of which there could be a sugar spike and sudden crash, which makes you crave for more sugar.
Yeah, it does. I know that when I'm healthier, I'm not craving sugar, and I know that when I'm not healthy, I'm like, oh, I've had so much salt now, I need a little bit of something sweet. So I'm fully aware of that. This is fantastic. How long were you at university getting your master's?
5 years.
5 years. Where did you study?
I studied in Bangalore. There's a college called Mount Carmel College. So I studied from there.
Wow. 5 years. It's how long does it take to become a vet?
So basically, the how it works in India is you do your bachelor's, master's in food science and nutrition, and post that you have a year of licensing that is required to become a registered dietitian to qualify and complete the exam, which is optional. So I did not do my RD exam.
Oh, right. Okay. So, and you did mention that you've worked with 3,000 clients. Whereabouts in the world are your clients from?
Basically from India, and India's like Indians staying all over the world. So I've had clients from Australia that way, from UK. Yes.
Wow. That is
Yes.
absolutely amazing. Fantastic. This is amazing stuff. Why does meal timing or sequencing make a problem with your gut health? Why is that a thing?
Yeah. So basically, we have all seen a clock, right? And we also have something like a biological clock. So when you start eating your meal every day at the same time, your body is in a complete rhythm and sync. It knows when to expect food. But if, say, one day you eat your breakfast at 8 o'clock, the other day it's at 11, there's insulin released, there's glucagon released, and the body just doesn't know now what to do with this hormonal mess. And that again messes up your gut bacteria. But when your meals are well timed, you have time to digest. Especially a lot of people now follow the trend where they're eating dinners as late as 9, 10 o'clock once they're back from work late. So by evening, when your insulin levels are like very slow and you've eaten like a heavy meal, that's too much for the body to process. So when people go to sleep, the entire night, instead of like, the detox process happening and your body getting into that recovery state, the
Yeah.
body has to work extra hard to digest this food. So through the night, people see high sugar levels, and that messes up their gut microbe even more. So it's important that all your meals need to be timed every day. You need to wake up, do your exercise, and eat at the same time. So that predictability and rhythm helps re-establish a healthy balance in your gut microbiome.
Wow. That's absolutely amazing. And now, I know, and especially when it comes to the emotional states that we get into, such as depression, anxiety, sleep's one of the best antidepressants in the world.
Correct.
Talk to
Yes.
me about how sleep is that because of the hormones it releases when we're sleeping?
Yes, absolutely. So, in fact, there's a very important hormone called melatonin, which
Yeah.
helps you sleep better. And now people are really getting aware about it. In terms of even nutrient, you need the nutrient called magnesium, which people are deficit in. And now the trend is like by weekends, people tend to get comfortable, and by 8, 9 o'clock is when, dinners are served, and then watching late night movies. So that's something your body is not accustomed, because there's a pattern you've been following all through the week. So there's a complete shift in your routine. Now, when you have not slept well, the liver is not able to detox well. And there's again, like, there's undigested food, which when you get up is all there. So it again makes you feel uneasy. Some people have that sensation of nausea. But if you sleep on time and, especially you hit the bed by 10 o'clock and you have got that good, restful, deep sleep, all your cells are able to regenerate. Your gut microbiome is well established. And what I have seen with a lot of my clients is the ones, especially who don't sleep well, are so groggy, cranky the next day, and they need extra calories just to operate, like, that extra caffeine,
Yeah.
extra cravings. So when you go to the root and start sleeping well, you're a happier person, you choose better foods, and you're able to operate with lesser calories.
That is 100% right. That is absolutely 100% right. I know that. I'm fully sold on that one. So, a question for you. What is the best thing for you to, or best thing for you to eat to detox your liver? Because it seems like the liver and it being detoxed the right way is probably going to start creating the good bacteria. If I'm wrong, please tell me. But from what I'm understanding, what's the best way to detox the liver?
The best way to detox is start with a minimum of 12-hour fasting. So if you've eaten your dinner at 8 o'clock, your next meal happens at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's the best way to heal your body. And if it suits you, you can increase the fasting hours gradually under medical supervision to 14 and then 16 hours. That's something that has good liver healing properties. A lot of, staying well hydrated. Sometimes that's the most basic thing, but the most forgotten thing. So there are toxins that is generated. There's a lot of waste product. But if you don't have water to push it out, it's all going to stay in the blood. So that's a lot of load for the liver. And the third thing, the but obvious, is alcohol. Alcohol consumption is just going to disrupt the way your liver breaks down fat. And that's a lot of toxic load for the liver. So no to alcohol.
Yeah, I'm not a drinker, so I totally understand that. But I
Yeah.
do like a Snickers bar because they don't have gluten in. This is absolutely fantastic, Natasha, and I am fully aware that I know you've got clients to go and see today, so I know that this is not going to be like one of the longer podcasts that we do, but the information in here and the value for people wanting to work with yourself, Natasha, and understanding, because the whole premise of the podcast is if it's in the mind it can be managed. But we're talking about today is actually if it's in the gut, it can be managed.
Yeah.
And a lot of our emotional states come from the gut.
Yes.
And I'm so glad you touched on fasting. I actually am a big fan of fasting. But when should people be fasting? When should they realize that fasting is not good for them?
So clients with a lot of acidity issues should avoid fasting. If you have fluctuating sugar levels, like you see a lot of people with an HbA1c of 9, 10, where on an average their sugar levels are 300, they're on medications, you need doctor's supervision. And
Mm.
of course, if your blood pressure is fluctuating and you have a tendency of having a lower blood pressure, stay away from fasting. But on a general note, I would say that if you plan to do a 14 to 16 hours fast, talk to your doctor and physician before getting onto it.
Wow, I love it. And the science behind the 72-hour fast?
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of that. Of course, it has helped a lot of people, but I mean, the side effects also could be higher because it can sometimes turn out to be a little life-threatening. So all this, like, that's what I said. When you extend it to a 14 and 16 hours, talk to your physician before getting started with it.
Perfect. And one thing that you say, stop eating this tomorrow and your life will change. Stop eating one thing. What's the one thing, Natasha, that if somebody stops eating it tomorrow, their life will change?
Uh, More than eating, there's something that you need to stop doing, which is a lifestyle change, is sitting more than 30 minutes. Sitting is the
Wow, we've done a 45 minutes podcast.
Yes. Sitting is the new smoking, and that's so dangerous that that's the root for everything, your posture, back pain, gut health, everything. So 30 minutes up, stand, take a good stretch break. That's the kind of mindfulness that's required.
Oh, wow. Natasha, this was absolutely fantastic. Is there anything else you want to share, Natasha, on if it's in mind, it can be managed?
So, to conclude, there are, like I would say, like your health is like a tripod stand. Okay. So, when you look at a tripod stand, you need all the three pillars. Now, even if one of these break, the tripod stand collapses. That's exactly. So, now I'll talk about what are these three things. The first and the most important is your sleep cycle. You may do the best diet, you may hit the best gym, but if you're not sleeping and recovering from this routine, it's all a waste. The second thing is it's always good to have a diet coach who you work one on one, understand what your body needs, have a diet plan tailored for yourself, and get educated in the world of diet. So, having the right kind of diet, enjoying the foods that you love, of course, in moderation. So second is diet. And the third is movement. Every 30 minutes, getting up, getting that movement, exercising, staying active is crucial for your health. So it's exercise, diet, and sleep, the basics.
Thank you so much. Natasha, it's been a pleasure having you on, all the way from India, on If It's in the Mind, It Can Be Managed. As always, to everybody watching this, if you've enjoyed the content, like and subscribe, share it with your friends. We're putting together a podcast of solutions. Nobody has to struggle or find themselves in a predicament that they don't think they can get out of, whether it's bad diet, bad mental health, maybe not having the mindset to be able to move through, or understanding our emotions. It's all here in the Mind Management Mentors podcast, working on workplace wellness, helping coaches thrive, and making sure that everyone understands the power of the mind. As always, as I finish this, big love from Cuddy, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Mind Management Mentors podcast.
Yeah.